All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. Today we're going to be talking about something that people discuss every year, but they tend to do it later towards the end of the year. When in reality, you already know what you consider the best smartphone for you. And this is a discussion video. Now I'll be showing you some phones, just a few phones that I have here, just the ones I wanted to gather. I have like 8 phones right here. But before I start talking about this discussion, I want to tell you what phone I'm using to record this video. It is a phone that gets slept on every year, and it's actually really good. And it can transition a lot of people away from the slab style phone, like the regular traditional slab style phone, and get them into what I consider probably one of the best iterations of a folding device, the Z Flip 6. This phone right here hardly gets any shine, but it is so much about it that's really good. So there are going to be some people out there that say, hey, the Z Flip 6 is my phone of the year. Now, it may be my only phone, or it was a phone I got halfway through the year, whatever your reasoning is. Then let me say this. There's no wrong answer here. It's just your personal preference. You should already know this, but I have to say this because some people will just jump in the comments and say, it's personal preference. Obviously, it's personal preference, and this is all subjective. But as a person who has a ton of phones right here, I have like 8 phones laying in front of me. I didn't want to pull every phone out, but there are some phones that actually just stand out, and they're really good. So the Z Flip 6 is a phone that I think, and I like how Samsung does their launches because they launch at the beginning of the year, which gives them an opportunity to actually have something that's out for an entire year and doesn't overlap into the next year. So I personally feel like the Z Flip 6, in fact, and look at the quality here. Now I'm using an external microphone. I decided to go over and plug up an external microphone because I'm sitting out in the kitchen dining area, like with my, I'm sitting out here, and I just wanted to, and it might have somewhat of an echo. It still might have an echo, a little bit of an echo, but I wanted to give you the best audio that I could give. And that's the thing about the Z Flip 6. I didn't have to plug in an external microphone. I could have just went into Pro Video, adjusted the gains, boom, here we are, focusing on my voice for the microphones. But with that said, the Z Flip 6 is doing the recording of this vlog, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal quality. I actually have a mirrorless camera, a DSLR. I have all these things. I have the new GoPro Hero 13 Black. I have the new DJI Action 5 Pro. I have all these cameras that I could possibly use to shoot this video, and I choose this phone right here because it has a nice big viewfinder. You can turn on the external display and see a viewfinder of yourself. Like, look at the viewfinder. Oh, it's so beautiful. Crystal clear. Now I'm actually shooting in portrait video as well because it can do portrait video on this thing, and it does up to 4K. It's just an overlooked phone, I think, by the tech community. I see these out in the wild. Whether, I don't know which model it is, because, they start to, well, I know if it's one of these bigger displays, it's one of the later models, but they start to look alike, and like everything else, like most of these phones, you can't even tell the difference from the older generation. But the Z Flip 6 is a phenomenal phone. And I think it should be in your top 5 for phone of the year. If you're running down the middle, if you're a person who has a bunch of phones, this phone should be in your top 5. No doubt about it. Now, I got a phone that I think a lot of people are going to call phone of the year. I'm just going to get straight to it. It's this phone right here. The Google Pixel 9 Pro XL is going to get named phone of the year by someone. Now, the reason, now this is a phenomenal phone, folks. It's great. It's a phenomenal phone. But I have trouble calling it the phone of the year for me because what am I doing? I'm recording video. Now, the good part about this particular phone is that this front camera looks really good. But I don't know if it's going to look as good as the cameras on the Z Flip 6 when it comes to a vlog because the colors are reproduced so much differently on this phone, especially on the rear. But the front camera for vlogs is better than the rear camera for vlogs. They really upgraded this front camera to a higher megapixel, but it's really good. I mean, I think it's like 48 megapixels on the front, I believe, if I remember something like that. It is really, really strong. And I could have used this to record this vlog with because it has the enhanced voice, lots of things. But I just don't think this can be considered phone of the year, especially when this phone exists. Oh yeah, the Pro model. This smaller variant, this is actually the new Pixel on the block. This is the latest phone that they've released that is completely different than all the other phones. You're going to say, well, gee, it's just a smaller version. Yes, there was no small Pro version, and now Google has done it. So for me, if I were going to choose one of these phones because I get this question all the time. If you only could pick one phone, I don't know why you ask a person, you can't really ask a person like me and people who are creators that do smartphone reviews, if you only could pick one phone, because it's not going to be the phone you think it might be. So if you've been following me long enough, you know it's going to be none of these phones. If you know me long enough, you've been following me long enough, you know that all the phones I'm going to show you this video, I wouldn't pick them as my phone of the year. I just wouldn't do it. And if you know me long enough, you know what to type in the comment section, what I would consider a phone of the year. You should know by now. Yeah. But nonetheless, as long as this phone exists in my eyes, this phone can never be phone of the year. I just couldn't do it. And furthermore, both of these phones cannot be considered phone of the year. Yes, I'm getting ready to show you. It couldn't be, neither one of these can be considered phone of the year for me, as long as this phone exists. The the Ultra, I got so many Samsung Galaxies over here. I left some of them over there though. But the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, as long as this phone exists, those other two phones, to me, cannot be labeled as phone of the year. This is too valuable. It takes this phone to an entirely new level. You just have to experience it. And furthermore, if I record this video with this phone, wow. I mean, and you're looking at the Z Flip 6, remember? You can't tell me this quality isn't good. It's really solid. So you think about this phone has even better cameras, in my opinion. As long as this phone exists, I'm saying it, I don't think that the new Pixels can be considered phones of the year. I just don't think so. Now, but it is very difficult to choose one phone, I say, for this so-called magical phone of the year. All of a sudden, all these phones came out throughout the year, and only one of them got it right the most. Because none of them are perfect, and none of them do everything perfect. Now, there are some out there, which there's a couple of phones that I gave a 10 to. But I don't think it's been any of these current phones. You all know the phone I gave a 10 to was the Huawei Mate 20X. That phone to me was a perfect 10, but that's just my personal opinion. But that phone checked every box for me. It was freaking phenomenal. And I think it was ahead of its time. And I hate that I got rid of mine. I hate that I can't find one now, that they're marked up like $2,000 pretty much everywhere. But nonetheless, a lot of the phones today can't have a 10 for me because there's some areas where they're lacking. And it could still be a phone of the year, even if it's not a 10. But I just feel like, as long as the S24 Ultra exists and it's in the same stage, on the same stage with the Pixels, I just don't. I mean, the Pixels feel better, especially my Pro model. Obviously, I like this because of the size, but this one feels better they both feel better than the S24 Ultra. They just do. But that camera game, and then some people have asked about the battery life. I'm going to put my cases back on these because I don't want to handle them. They're feeling kind of slippery right now. But some people have asked about the camera or battery life on the Ultra versus the Pixel 9 Pro XL. And remember, folks, battery life is subjective, but one does last a little bit longer than the other, but it could be different on different days. But ultimately, if you want my answer, the S24 Ultra does last a little bit longer than the Pixel 9 Pro XL. It truly does. I put the Reiki case back on it. But with that said, they're all great. And I know that some of you don't have the other phones and you're just going by your one phone that you have. That's the phone that you think is the best. Go with it. Remember, there's no wrong answer. But when people ask me, like, if you only could do one phone and which phone is better than this phone, it's not that simple. All these phones that I'm talking about are phenomenal. And we're not even going to talk about And personally, I feel like the Pixel 9 Pro is a better match for my S24 Plus. I left my S24 Plus over there in my office, but the S24 Plus is another slept-on phone, and I could use that phone to record a vlog with, and it's going to be perfect quality like this. I mean, I think this quality, I'm looking through the viewfinder, but I did a couple of test runs because I had to stop and adjust the camera and things like that. And I played it back like, whoa, there's no special lighting. I'm just sitting at my dining, the kitchen. I'm in the kitchen. The dining table's over there, but I'm sitting at my countertop here in the kitchen on this bench. And this is just my regular kitchen lights. They're LED lights by default, but still just regular kitchen lights. And I do have this external microphone, but that's it, folks. I'm not doing anything special. There's not going to be any editing to this video. This is the content. And so if you're a person who wants to vlog, you could have a phenomenal video with any, you hear me say it, with any of the Samsung phones that were released, including the Z. You can have phenomenal footage with this because you get an even bigger viewfinder. Like all of this become like almost this entire thing becomes the viewfinder. Look at the reflection here. You can see if you can see. You see it? There you go. You see the Z Flip 6? There it is. And with this phone, almost this entire side of it, over half of this becomes the viewfinder, and it's phenomenal. You know, it's a shame that Samsung pushes this phone a lot more, I believe, and it's like double the price of the Z Flip 6. But the Z Flip 6 is such a great phone. But I'm not going to talk about that phone too much. This phone right here is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I mean, it is just one of the best. I recently went back to using this as my daily. I'm still using my iPhone and my Pixel. I'm just rotating the pixels out. But this is a phenomenal. I mean, again, if you know me, you know what my phone of the year would be if I only had to choose one phone. And if that company was still in business, I just think they do it right. They do it right. Their operating system was the best. And all these phones that I'm laying out here copied their style and took things from them. So, you know, Android took from them. Apple took from them. It's just that simple. WebOS, BBOS, you're looking at all of that right now. But this phone right here is absolutely amazing. I do have it in my Pitaka skin to match my Pitaka skin that's on my Z Flip 6. But I mean, this phone is amazing. Battery life is great. It has all the functionality that a person can want to create. That's another thing I like about these two phones. They're great for creators. Phenomenal for creators. I mean, you literally could run your YouTube channel off of these two phones. And then also, obviously, you know, you can run it off of this. But nonetheless, a phone of the year for a lot of people might be one of these. The iPhone 16 Pro Max or the iPhone 16 Pro or the iPhone 16 or the 16 Plus. The iPhones hardly ever get phone of the year for me because they're so, I don't know, it's like the cheat code, I want to say. It's weird, but it's like the cheat code to having a smartphone. That's what the Pixels are. It's like the cheat code to having a smartphone. You're going to have it so easy and so smooth. And also the iPhone does a lot of things better on social media than the other phones. But I don't know if I've ever named an iPhone phone of the year. I would, but I can't officially. And everybody loves this one. Yeah, I bought a lot of this. I think a lot of people don't use iPhones as phones of the year for their own personal reasons. I don't know, because let's be clear here. Most creators that I know have an iPhone, and it's in rotation. Like one of my phone numbers is on here, so you know, I'm done saying I have it because family members. I used to say that years ago. I like iPhones, man. There's nothing wrong with liking an iPhone, and it just works for me. It's super simple, and furthermore, the video cameras on this thing. Oh man, it's incredible, man. The video cameras on the new iPhones are just dumb. Just stupid. There's no reason for them to be that good. They're really good. Yeah, they are. But I don't like a few things about the new iPhones. Maybe if it still had a SIM card, some of you guys are gonna think that's weird, but not having a SIM card is a major way of control. Like you're forcing me to stay with a carrier or I can't move around as quickly as I want to. You can tell me that, oh, switching to eSIM is fast. Okay. That depends on your carrier, and that depends on their network and if it's going to be stable enough to transfer the number. I've had my number get lost in outer space multiple times when doing it. And so that's why my iPhone just keeps the same number. I'll move it sometimes, but it's a number that I just have because, first of all, I've had it for a long time. But it's just something that I don't know. I think it's messed up that they're doing that to us, making us, they take away the SIM card trade in the United States. They just do a bunch of stuff over here in the United States is just stupid. It's all control and it's money. That's all it is. Nonetheless, let's get back over to the conversation. A phone that could possibly, like if I were gonna give something a super edge up on others, it would definitely have to be the OnePlus Open. And it's unfortunate that the OnePlus Open didn't get another version. I'm hearing that the OnePlus Open 2 has leaked or something like that. I don't know about that. Maybe it has, but I haven't been following it because OnePlus 13 is the one that's getting all the spotlight right now. But this phone right here is phenomenal, folks. And it does something, again, that a lot of phones really just can't do, is get that phenomenal video over a lot of phones. This phone can do it. This phone has phenomenal photos. It just, and then it just feels, it's so premium, man. It's thin. It's just, the closing of listen to how it sounds when the fold closes. You hear how it sounds? Real timid. Now listen to the way the OnePlus sounds. This phone right here, some of the best cameras in the game. OnePlus was the flagship killer, and now they are the foldable killers. Because if you want this bigger style, like tablet style, it's definitely, man, some of you guys have asked me, what do you think about it versus the Z Fold 6? Go back and watch the video. I put it out immediately. And I still feel the same way. But, the Pixel Fold 9 Pro, whatever it's called, and I still have the OG Pixel Fold. I have several folding devices and Pixels. But the OG Pixel Fold, it needs to be improved in the video cameras. And then the battery definitely is not on par with either one of these phones. It's just not happening, at least for me in my experience. So I'll say this. We're in November at the recording of this video. I like every phone that I've mentioned so far. Like, I literally like all these phones. I do. There's no doubt about it. I like them. And choosing one today, by the way I see it, is almost impossible, son. It's impossible to choose just one of these phones and say, oh, that's it. For me, not you, for me. And because I have all these phones, there's so many consumers out there that do not have all these phones. So they're going to be content with the phone I'm recording with. The Z Flip 6, I'll say it again. This phone is freaking phenomenal, man. It's unreal how good this phone is. And it's such a shame that it gets overlooked. It really does. I'm rocking with mine. And if they bring out a Z Flip 7, maybe I'll trade this in, or maybe I'll trade something else in. Because I wasn't planning on trading and getting the Z Flip 6 or this phone, but those phenomenal trade-in deals, they blew us through the roof. So I feel like if anything, if they release a new Z Flip phone, it's going to be, I don't know how they're going to pull it off, but it's probably going to be really good. This now there's a special edition Z Fold 6 or something like that, Z Fold or something like that, SE version. I haven't, like, I've seen a couple of rumors or whatever, but I haven't really seen anything about it. And I'm not really following it because I have an official Z Flip 6 or Z Fold 6 and Z Flip 6, and I like them. But I'm wondering how well they can top themselves for this new version of whatever they come out with. It's getting very hard for companies to make better versions of all these phones that I've been holding up. I still have my older Pixels, like my 8 Pro and also the Pixel. You know, I have a ton of other phones that were the previous generation, and folks, they're still good. They're freaking phenomenal, hands down. So how are you going to choose, oh, this is the phone of the year for sure? Or are you tired? Are you tired or are you done seeing that? Are you finished, you know, kind of calling that a thing? I don't think it's possible anymore. Some of you guys will say, and I know this because I haven't done imports in 10 years or more. You're going to tell me, oh, you got to see this one. Folks, I keep up with imports. I just tell people, go back and look at my channel. I was doing imports, and there's nothing special about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm special or nothing like that, but I just remember doing imports when nobody was doing imports, like predominantly on their channel. I was getting every import in, and I mean, Xiaomi, I'm telling you, man, I was killing it. I was killing it. Toot, 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 toot. I was killing it. And a lot of people were saying, oh, this is stupid. But eventually, people said, man, that is a better value. But the problem back then, there was no 5G or whatever we were on. Like if we were on 3G, it was edge. And so you really need to be on Wi-Fi to get the best out of it. That was the only problem. But now the times are different. There's a lot of 5G phones that come in, they're imported, you get 5G or 4G at least. So, you know, hey, I was in at a time where it just wasn't network ready. But we're here now. What do you say to people that tell you, what's your phone of the year? Well, this is definitely the phone of the year. Oh, the Pixel 9 Pro is definitely the phone of the year. Oh, the iPhone 16 Pro Max is definitely the phone of the year. What do you say to those people? Are you still into this smartphone awards? Like, oh my gosh, you know, because it's almost impossible to pick just one. And even if you break it into categories, there's so many in the there's so many phones in one cat, especially the slab style, just regular, you know, slab style phones. There's a lot in this category. There's so many phones that have come out. How do you compete in that category? It's almost impossible. That's how I feel about it. I'm not going to partake in this smartphone of the year per se, because I like all these phones, and I have a boatload of phones. I like them all, and I think all of them deserve some credit. But I did want to say this one more time and show some shine and put some shine all over this phone that I'm using to record this with, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 6. And if they do release a Z Flip 7 and you're a vlogger, you can definitely grab this Z Flip 6. And I think you'll be more than happy. Get your lighting right, get your little external microphone, vlog to your heart's content, especially when you're outside in the sunlight or just out in bright lights or just a brighter setting. You're going to love it. It's your man Jay. I'm going to sign off. Smartphone of the year, best foldable of the year, best flip phone, all these different, I like them all. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.